Democracy demands that we're able also to get inside the reality of people who are different than us, so we can understand their point of view. Maybe we can change their minds, but maybe they'll change ours.
President Obama addressing the crowd honoring Nelson Mandela's 100th birthday on Tuesday, turning, well, to a familiar topic of the late South African leader and a lot of American politicians. That's identity politics. Here now to discuss, Adriana Cohen, syndicated columnist with the Boston Herald radio host, back with us, Heather and Rick Unger. Adriana, let me start with you. It's sort of ironic listening to President Obama, who, we saw race relations spiral into a death spiral under his watch, identity politics used all the time. And when you talk about who's guilty of it, let me just read an email that I got from the NCAA, not the whole thing, about Kavanaugh. You have a president whose sentiment and policies are rooted in racism, an administration reversing civil and human rights at every corner. And they just go on and on and on to talk about a nominee with a record full of backward right-wing opinions and extreme views on civil rights. I don't even know where they got that from. But it doesn't matter who the nominee was going to be. This was going to go out because it's the epitome of identity politics and fear-mongering.
You're absolutely right. And, a Rasmussen poll found in 2017 that the majority of Americans believe that race relations got far worse under the Obama administration than before it. Charles, that the Democrat Party, including President Obama, they are masters at exploiting identity politics for political gain. And they did pit every possible group against one another. And let's not forget that under President Obama, we saw conservatives, Americans, get targeted by the IRS for their political views. That's dead wrong and a violation of their free speech and their civil rights. And so President Obama is an expert at saying the right things, but his actions certainly don't back it up.
Heather, again, it goes beyond hypocrisy. I think we're getting to a dangerous place in this country. We talk about the incivility crisis we're dealing with, and I'm really concerned. One day we're going to have a recession. One day the economy won't be growing 5.25%. So if we're at each other's throats to disagree and politicians are fanning those flames, what happens then?
Yeah, it's a real problem. I sent out a tweet today when I saw this clip that I think maybe Kanye has been talking to Obama, getting him to read Jordan Peterson, right? Because one of the things that Peterson talks about so very effectively is the serious problem of groupthink and identity politics and the intersectionality that follows from that, where you go exactly contrary to what makes America so great, which is we're all about protecting the individual regardless of group. And you don't prejudge people, you look at the content of the character, not the color of their skin. And this has all been stood on its head. I take great comfort from the fact that Obama, who is a very astute reader of political climate, has decided to get out ahead on this issue, even though the reality is that his own administration was not good on this. He let his subordinates do the dirty work. But his saying this, and particularly saying it in South Africa, which has really deteriorated with this type of identity politics. In fact, there's a policy that's just been announced by the president of South Africa that they're going to start appropriating without compensation property from white property owners to give to black individuals, purely based on color and group identity. I think Obama wanted to distance himself from this and make sure that it was not attached to him.
Well, you put some serious thinking into that. I don't know.
Well, it could be just really bad stuff.
I kind of believe he was, projecting to America and trying to lay this all on the current administration. But Rick, we've got a lot of books out now about tribalism in America and these kind of things. And a lot of folks saying it's a natural thing. But to Heather's point, it's also dangerous as well.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think even the topic of identity politics is a very tricky, difficult topic. Because as we were speaking earlier, it's all bad to do it until your identity is an identity that is on the wrong end of the social stick. Then all of a sudden, it's not so bad. But I will say this, and I think this has always been my best example of how it can go wrong. And I happen to agree with you that the Democrats will ultimately suffer for this because someday the black community is going to realize, why do we always just go with the Democrats? What have the Democrats done for us that's so awesome that we just give them our vote? And they're going to start getting smarter about this and put it up for grabs.
Let me tell you something. Let Crowley keep getting some endorsements from Democrats, run against this young woman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, coupled with what Maxine Waters said. We may have something brewing right now. All right, folks. Thank you all very much. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the markets.